that were detailed in a recent indictment. Mark Harris is a U.S. representative from North Carolina and made these comments on Washington Watch.
If you try to list out the takeaways from that event, it has to be one, that it became very apparent that what people already knew, and that is SPLC is not the neutral civil rights watchdog it claims to be.
Harris said the CEO had typical taglines in his answers about how the SPLC does not support any hate groups. Harris said the CEO told him that FRC was still on the hate map. He also said Moms for Liberty members said they were considered part of an extremist group by the SPLC. Congress has released a bill attempting to regulate AI, and it overrides some current states' laws. More from Caleb Castile.
A bipartisan draft of a bill regulating artificial intelligence made its way through Congress. The bill aims to try to provide uniform regulation to AI. Californian Republican Congressman Jay Obernolte says that, quote, artificial intelligence is advancing rapidly, which is why Congress must take a thoughtful and bipartisan approach to regulating this critical technology. However, this federal AI regulation would freeze state-level AI development laws, which have been built over 3 years. They would also lose the ability to pass new laws about how AI systems are constructed. However, states would retain authority to enforce civil rights law, labor protections, copyright, child sexual abuse material prohibitions, and consumer privacy. Patrick Hedger, the Net Choice Director of Policy, went on Jenna Ellis in the Morning on American Family Radio, where he said that creating a brand new AI bureaucracy would not be the right solution.
Creating institutional knowledge at regulatory agencies about AI systems and how AI could potentially be used in ways that run afoul of existing regulations is probably the best path to go right now versus trying to create a brand new AI bureaucracy that oversees this technology.
Hedger also said that he does not support the idea of government getting too involved with AI development, and host Jenna Ellis cited Google's suppression of Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election as an example of how government intervention could lead to problems.
AI is going to be a major information channel going forward, and you don't want the government putting their thumbs on the scale of what is and what is not factual information.
I'm Caleb Castile.
Graham Plattner won the Maine Democrat primary for U.S. Senate yesterday, overcoming revelations about his scandals to set up a high-stakes race against Republican Senator Susan Collins. Speaking to supporters in the small town where he was born, Plattner, an oyster farmer and combat veteran, stressed a message of redemption as he promised to oust Collins. Texas Scorecard reports books that have sparked fierce battles in Texas schools over sexually explicit content are available through the library of the Austin Church, where Democrat U.S. Senate candidate James Tallarico both attends and preaches. The discovery is drawing criticism as Tallarico continues to present himself as a Christian leader and has increasingly centered faith in his political messaging during his Senate campaign. The Storm Prediction Center says there is an enhanced risk, a level 3 out of 5, of severe storms across parts of the upper and mid-Mississippi valleys and the Midwest. A few strong tornadoes and damaging wind gusts are possible. That is all our time for now. Find more news online at afn.net.
Every day, AFA offers biblical insight on issues that others aren't willing to touch in the hopes that you'll become a world changer. That's why we're offering an in-depth worldview training course called Activate. 13 different professors teaching 18 sessions, all available online, including a printed workbook to help you apply what you've learned and 1-year access to AFA streaming content to give you even more resources. Find out more about Activate and sign up today at activate.afa.net.
Hello, and welcome to the Dr. Nurse Mama Show. Prescribing hope for healthy families here on American Family Radio. Here's your host, Professor, Pediatric Nurse Practitioner, and Mama for Dr. Jessica Peck.
Well, hey there, friends, and welcome to my great time of day. Getting to spend time with you, prescribing hope for healthy families. We are in the middle of the week, in almost the middle of the month of June, and today is going to be a great day. And I'm so glad that you have joined us wherever you are, whatever you are doing. I'm so glad that you have joined us today, that you're listening in. And today is a day we're going to talk about the Declutter Diaries. If you've been following along, you know we have been talking about this actually since last year. Every month we've had Kathy Lipp on, who is a decluttering expert. You can find her on Facebook at Kathy Lipp's Clutter Free Academy. And if you tell her you're from our show, the Dr. Nurse Mama Show, she will let you in for free. And you can talk with people who are talking about clutter. And I talk about this all the time because, first of all, it's something that I struggle with. I am definitely a clutter queen. I struggle with throwing things away. And if you've been listening along, I share some of the reasons why that is. It can be really hard. But I do believe that, especially here in this country, in America, we just have too much stuff. We hold on to stuff, and that stuff that we hold on to often becomes the source of conflict in our homes. Whether it's a uniform that you can't find, whether it is just some shoes that you're stepping over in the front door for the 20th time that just makes you lose your mind, lose your patience, lose your temper. These things are constantly sources of conflict for our families. And there's some emotional reasons, some psychological reasons behind why we have so much clutter. And summer is supposed to be the season of slower schedules, making memories. I know everybody starts off the summer. If you've got kids at home, you have the best of intentions. But for a lot of parents, it can feel like a full-time logistics operation, like you are just trying your best to figure out who is going where, who needs what the schedule is, because you're a little bit off schedule. And that can be hard too, because I know, like, when you have your kids maybe visiting grandparents and they're not accustomed to visiting, all of a sudden it's like there's cups everywhere and shoes everywhere. And this is how my neighbor said, I know all of your kids are home, because I walk in and it looks just like cups and shoes. Like those are the tells that there's a lot of kids there. Maybe one child is headed to a sports camp, another one needs a swimsuit and goggles, and someone forgot the permission slip that they have to have, and the car is full of snack wrappers and wet towels that nobody brought out when you went to the pool or the beach together. And somehow it seems like mom is expected to kind of be the catch-all and figure all of that out, and that mental load can really be exhausting. But listen, we're here with help and hope today. And what if the answer isn't trying harder? It's creating simpler systems. Now, our guest today, who will be joining us here in a little bit, is best-selling author and organization expert Kathy Lipp. And one of the things that she has taught us is that being organized isn't about color-coded perfection. And it isn't about buying that organization system that is marketed to you off social media, because we get overwhelmed by the clutter, and then all of a sudden we're scrolling, and we pause on those things. The algorithm picks up on it and says, oh, you're frustrated? Oh, what you need is, here's this handy dandy link here, and you can buy an organization system you didn't even know you needed. And then you buy it and you don't have it. And it's like, oh, it's so frustrating. It's such a frustrating cycle. You might also feel like you have to become the family's personal assistant. I know I can feel like that, like trying to keep everything organized, because during the summer especially, let me encourage those of you who don't have kids at home to encourage those who do, because there's a lot of things that go on. You need sports physicals, you need checkups, you need eye exams, everybody's grown, so you need different shoes, and that may be figuring out who fits in what hand-me-downs, and figuring out, who needs a new backpack or a new lunchbox, and all of those things that seem to be the catch-all in the summer. That can be really difficult. In fact, one of the greatest gifts that we can give our kids isn't a mom or a parent who never forgets anything. It's just teaching them how to actually fend for themselves and start to take some of this responsibility on. When we see this generational swing, we see, really older generations like me, I'm Gen X. We are notoriously known as the latchkey kid generation, go outside, fend for yourself, figure it all out. And now we have the tendency to, I'll make you a bento box lunch. If you're wondering what that is like an artistic, gourmet organic lunch, and I'll send it to you for college, right? But today we're going to talk about some practical ways to survive this season of cars, camps, chaos without losing your joy or your keys. Okay. Now I know my husband's listening and he's thinking, oh honey, if you think you're not going to lose your keys, that will be a day. That will definitely be a day. Kathy, I think we have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a delight to see you, friend.
Oh my goodness, it's always so great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me. And I'm also the drink from the fire hose, not fire hose, the garden,
The garden hose.
generation. Yeah,
I know.
but we're also drinking from the fire hose because it's summer, right? And
That's
even
right.
if there's a shift in the air, isn't there? There are things we want to do, things we want to accomplish. So whether the kids live with you, maybe you're watching grandkids, maybe you're babysitting other kids, the shift is there.
It absolutely is there. And today, one of the things you're going to talk to us about, Kathy, is being prepared. And what does it mean to be prepared? We're still early in summer. Hopes are high. Expectations are high. You know, we haven't reached that, like, okay, we're sitting on the couch eating potato chips at 2 a.m. We haven't reached that stage yet. How do we take advantage of these early moments in the summer and be prepared?
Well, I think one of the best things we can do is to say, hey, you know what? Summer deserves space. It deserves space maybe in our garage or in our basement or in a corner of our house, because summer has its own set of accessories. If you grew up with Barbies like I did, you know that there are accessories that go with summer. And if you're having to dig those out all the time and you find out, well, the sunscreen's been, it's expired 4 years ago because we bought so much in the pandemic because we just wanted to be outside, even if it was in our backyard. My goal is to help people think through, how do I carve out a space for this different time of year? And I think one of the first things to do is pack up anything that you use through the year but isn't really summer. I mean, if you still have some, I know that there are listeners that still have Christmas decorations somewhere.
Kathy,
I know.
You didn't.
Okay, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying you're making it harder on yourself. And Jessica, I like you too much to make it hard on you. So maybe we could put some of that, even if it's just in the closet for right now. And we're going to pack away any heavy jackets. I don't even know if you have those in Houston, Jessica, but we do where we live. And so those don't need to be hung up in the A spots. But things that we do need to have are beach towels. And we need to know where the extra bathing suits are, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to talk about carving out space.
I'm so glad that you did. And really, it's okay, because I am happy to tell you that actually I did put up my Christmas tree way later than I've ever done before. It just feels like this year has been crazy. But actually, it was funny because the other day, my kids had friends that came over and they went into my dining room. Kathy, here, we call this Declutter Diaries. Here's my true confession time. And one of them looked up and started laughing and they said, do you realize in your dining room you have a sign that says Jesus is the reason for the season? And you also have a little Easter thing, and you have a 4th of July thing. Like, I mean, I am just like the regular Hobby Lobby right there. I'm trying to transform my dining room into a Hobby Lobby, but I did put those things away. And that is such great advice, really, because there is a shift that happens. And even one of the conflicts in my house is that, my kids going to the linen closet to get beach towels out, like, that's going to get messy. So I discovered, like, just having a go-to basket by the door, like, here's the towels you can use, grab one out of the basket. That works so much better. And one of the things that I really want to dive into that you're talking about today, Kathy, is really helping our kids to fend for themselves, making space for that. Yeah. But there's also space for kids to learn new skills and new responsibilities when they don't have the responsibilities of homework or maybe school sports practice or extracurriculars. There's some space for kids who do that. Because you said we're not raising kids who have a mom who remembers everything. We're raising adults who learn to think ahead. What kind of space can we start thinking in that shift that you were talking about, from doing everything for our kids to helping them help themselves?
Yeah. So I think one of the best things we can do is sit down. It takes a little patience, which is not my forte, but I'm just going to say this. If you front load your summer, it's going to help so much for the when we're in July and August and all of that. So think about your kids' activities during the summer. So are they part of a library program? Are they doing swim lessons? Do they have a friend's house that they go to all the time? What are they going to need for each of those things? And I'm a big believer in multiple bags, that we have a swim bag, we have a library bag. Because if you're constantly taking things out and putting things in, that's going to make you crazy. So sitting down with your child and saying, okay, are there things that we need for the library? And let your bag, and at first make a list, but then let your bag be the list. There is a water bottle in there. So we know that we need to fill up the water bottle. Maybe you put in, here are the 3 choices of snacks. And I'm a big believer in, you know what, just do a packaged snack that can be thrown in there. If you're going to be gone all day, that's the time to do some baby carrots. And, but if you can have some prepackaged things that are ready to go, that's going to be so helpful. And then also, so think about the different kinds of bags they would need. Maybe they're going to grandma's house, one night during the week each week. What do they need there? Or could you preload grandma's house with pajamas and a change of clothes so that things can be washed right there and they don't have to come home? Anything you can do to lessen the chaos, but it's really about asking your kids, what do they need? And then looking at the program and what does the program say you need? And having all of that preloaded.
I love this idea of having like bags for whatever you're going to do, because I'm envisioning that you could even like hang this. It could be as simple as a tote bag, and you could hang it in your closet and be like, okay, we're going to the library, get the library bag. Okay, we're going to the pool, get the pool bag, and then you just have it all right there in an organized system. And Kathy, this is one of the things that you've been so brilliant about in helping us with, knowing that simple systems work the best. This does not have to be, oh no, now I'm saying this because, my husband is a rocket scientist, but this is not rocket science. Like I could do this. Right. I could definitely do this. Why is simple best?
Yeah, because, okay, so I have been doing a lot of research for my next book on why do we feel overwhelmed all the time? Why do we stop decluttering? Why do we let our system... We cannot make more decisions. The modern mom is making not hundreds, but thousands of decisions every day. And they're little tiny decisions. But at some point, your stress system gets overloaded. And you just can't make one more decision. But the relief, Jessica, the relief of when you have hung up your clothes the day before because there's a special event, right? Yeah. And you know what you're going to wear. Or even being de-stressed because, not distressed, but de-stressed because you're on a trip and you've already packed your clothes and you know exactly what clothes you have. You're not overwhelmed by all those clothes. Our kids need this too. They need to know, hey, when we go to swim lessons, this is the Tuesday bathing suit. And we also have a Thursday bathing suit. And let's keep it simple.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about when we come back from this break. We are going to talk about the summer car kit, because if you're anything like me, summer, we spend a lot of time in the car, whether it's road trips or going places, and it has a really special kind of chaos that comes with that. When we come back, we'll tell you everything that you need, not for emergencies only, but for predictable inconveniences that'll lower your stress level and lower the conflict. We'll be right back with Kathy Lipp.
This is John MacArthur with more Portraits of Grace. Religion comes in many forms. Almost every conceivable belief or behavior has been incorporated into some religious system at some point in time. But essentially, there are only two religions in the world: human achievement and divine accomplishment. The religion of human achievement says you can please God by your own merits and earn your salvation. The religion of divine accomplishment says you must trust in Jesus Christ alone for salvation. That's the way of the cross, the narrow way, the only way. You can't earn your way to heaven because Jesus Christ has already paid the price. You must simply trust in Him and rejoice in His provision. This is John MacArthur, praying you are continuing to be portraits of grace.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-788-1813.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-788-1813.
A young boy yelled, "Time out!" just before being tagged, knowing he would be safe for a moment. In childhood games, that works. In the Christian life, it doesn't. There are no timeouts in spiritual battles. The devil is relentless, seeking to draw us into compromise, apathy, and disbelief. Just as Saul pursued David daily, we face an enemy who does not quit. But we are not without help. Ephesians tells us to be strong in the Lord and to put on the whole armor of God. Our strength is not in ourselves, but in Him. Are you ready for the battle you can't see? Anchor yourself in Scripture, prayer, and truth. Victory comes when we rely on God and stand fully equipped. With today's Moment in Grace, I'm Jim Scudder.
Chasing me, I don't wanna live that way. I gotta have a bit more faith. I would let the mountains move me. I would let the problems stop me. I don't wanna live that way. I gotta have a bit more faith. I can face the lions, the giants. I walked all through the valley. Fear won't shake me, won't break me. It doesn't matter what I'm up against. I can do all things. I can do all things in you.
Welcome back, friends. That is In You by Iveth Luna. And we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And it may seem impossible, but you can even get your summer chaos under control. And listen, if your car has ever looked like a combination locker room, snack bar, lost and found bin by the middle of June, if you have goldfish crushed on the floor of your car, if you don't have goldfish crushed on the floor of your car, by the way, have you ever lived? Have you ever really lived? I mean, I'm telling you, this chaos can really take over our lives. And we are talking in the Declutter Diaries with decluttering expert Kathy Lipp, because I know this impacts families. And I also know that one show isn't going to be enough to get it down. And I also know that much of the marital conflict that occurs in homes, conflict between parents and kids, it starts over irritation, over clutter and disorganization, and not being able to find anything. You are not alone. And I've been talking with Kathy about how summer creates its own special brand of clutter. I mean, we've got wet swimsuits and the forgotten water bottles that maybe have Gatorade in them. Oh, heaven forbid. And they get moldy, and sports equipment and sunscreen and bug spray. And, I need a Band-Aid. And Kathy is sharing with us today, the goal isn't to prepare for rare emergencies that are very unlikely to happen. It's prepare for those inconveniences we know are coming. And we are going to talk about a thoughtfully stocked summer car kit. And this can turn frantic moments into really much more manageable ones and help families spend less time scrambling and more time enjoying the adventure and the gift of time that God has given you. And even better, when kids help maintain these systems, They're learning responsibility in real life, not just, oh, you better do what mom says or she's going to nag you to death. Kathy, so glad to have you back. Let's jump right in and talk about this summer car kit. Because I will tell you, this is something that I learned to do when my kids were little. This was one thing that I was on top of, and it was a game changer for me, an absolute game changer.
Yeah, we've done, we don't have kids in our house anymore, but why did I not think of this before? Like, this was a late in life thing. We do have one child. Her name is Moose. She's an 11-pound terror that does require a lot of extra support. But one of the things that we've done within the past couple of years, we've got, I used to put things in bags, and bags would get lost for me. But we found this 4-sided box that had kind of pockets on the outside. We got it at Costco, but we also have one of those 4-sided boxes that's from Trader Joe's. And what I love about this thing is that we have everything that is reasonable to have in there. Just yesterday, we were on an 11-hour car trip. And my husband went to a celebration where we used to live, and we brought this with us. We bring it with us everywhere now. There's always every single time we're in the car, there's something we need from there. So I'm just going to go through a few categories, and we can see what might spark things for people. So cleaning. So wipes, like facial wipes, or maybe you need baby wipes if you're in that phase of life. A roll of paper towels, some trash bags. That has been a huge one for us. Hand sanitizer. We've got just some general wipes that we keep in there because, you eat lunch in the car, your hands are sticky, that kind of thing. Use it all the time. Some comfort items. So if you don't want to get sunburned, make sure you have some good sunscreen, bug spray, hair ties. How many times have I been looking for a hair tie? Jessica, apparently 58 is the age that I decided I need to be wearing lip balm 24 hours a day. I have them stashed everywhere, but I make sure that I have one in this car kit and I put it back in there. Tissues, because allergy season is in full swing here in Northern California. Let's talk about clothing rescue, maybe some extra socks. I have a pair of flip-flops in there because when I go to do a pedicure, I'm not always thinking flip-flops. And so I have mine to take back. Sweatshirt might be a good thing. A hat. Both Roger and I wear baseball hats a lot of the time. And so we each have a baseball hat in there. Food and water. So refillable water bottles. I will often bring this kit when I know that we are going on a longer trip. I'll bring this kit inside and I'll get it all ready with the refillable water bottles with ice and all of that. But all the time we have shelf-stable snacks in there. So things like little bags of pirate booty, fig bars that are just enough. Not beef jerky, but the beef sticks for if you need a little shot of protein, some dried fruit. Those are the things I have in there. Parent sanity, or adult sanity. We can call it either one. So an extra phone charger, because I know phone charging cords can be trampled to death. I have experienced this myself. Pens, a small notebook, a checkbook. Once a year, we need a check for something. And then I have reusable grocery bags in there, and I remember to bring them into the grocery store almost 50% of the time. But it's not, if I leave them at home, safe at home, it's not 100%. And then summer specific. Do you need some towels? Plastic bags for wet clothes, a picnic basket, a cooling towel. What is it that you need to make sure that you have in there? Because if it happens every summer, it's not an emergency. It's only an emergency if you've forgotten something. It's just a system that is waiting to be built, and this is how you build it.
Well, these are all really great specific ideas. And one thing that I know about cluttery people, Kathy, because I am one, is that, we may not love the clean outs and getting rid of stuff, but we love to stock up on stuff. And so this can be a great project. If you're working on something else, where you're working on decluttering, this is kind of, to me, a great pause. And I'm going to tell you, this is one thing that I did do well. And I've shared plenty of things that I haven't done well, but it actually earned me a nickname in my family, Kathy. You want to know what it is? The nickname that my family, yes, okay, it's actually pretty funny. My family started calling me Mommy Poppins, like Mary Poppins. Now, I wanted to think it's because I was practically perfect in every way. That wasn't it. It was because I had a magic bag, like that anything that they needed would come out of, like whatever we needed. But this really did save my sanity. So when I'm like taking kids to school in the morning, I knew there was one kid I had who was always going to forget their shoes. So I just put an extra pair of Crocs in there, knowing that like, all right, we need to have an emergency backup pair of shoes because that's the stage of life that we're in. They're just, this kid's going to run out of the house without their shoes. There was, I have a kid who's going to get car sick. Like that is a possibility. So I need some cleanup supplies rather than, just driving and trying to find a pharmacy that I can go through. I think this would be a great project to get kids involved in. And you could say, okay, what kinds of things do we need when we're on the road? What kinds of things do we need to put in our car to be prepared? Whether, maybe you go to grandma's house because grandma keeps you during the summer, or, maybe you go to the library or whatever it is. Like, what are those things that we need to keep in the car for emergencies, and help them pack it and think it through and talk through those things? That would be a great way to start giving kids ownership, and not by nagging them, but by, hey, not like, okay, did you pack everything? But like looking through and thinking of that. So let's talk through how we can help transition some of that responsibility to kids so that they're starting to think through these things and participate, instead of us feeling like we have to take care of every need every time.
Yeah. So I think one of the things to do is, if your kid is going to the same activity all the time, and by the way, as an adult, I have a system for this as well, but can you print out, hey, if you're going to camp, here are the things you need to make sure you have and that you've done. Like, one of the things I didn't mention because I was thinking, specifically summer, but one of the things that you could have in that car kit is, the kid who forgets their toothbrush to brush their teeth before they leave. I had one of those. And so one of the things, our kids felt finances. And you can buy those little preloaded toothpaste, toothbrushes. And it's like, okay, the first time you forget, we're going to let it pass. The second time, I had figured out that each of those is 47 cents. So that's going to be deducted from, when it's age appropriate. But to say, I have this, but this costs me money, it's going to cost you money. And so that is some incentive to say, hey, let's try to make sure that you have packed everything. So, shoes, socks, uniform, sunscreen, that could be on that list. And it could be a wipeable list that they check off. It could just be, for older kids, they just need to go down the list. What do you need to grab from the kitchen? Water, snack, lunch. Gear. Is there a ball? Is there a mitt? Is there an instrument? Swimsuit, towel? Making the list. It is not reasonable for you to ask an 8-year-old, did you pack everything? Unless you have one of those 8-year-olds that was born at 38. But even then, they need support. The other thing to remember is to ask about what do they need on the way home from the event, not the morning of. Is there a permission slip? Is there money? And I know this isn't feasible for every family, but if you can have a little spot in the grown-up's bedroom that has some cash, I found that to be very, very helpful for lots of things that came up at the last minute where, hey, we're doing a popsicle day and everybody needs to bring $2. Well, I'm going to pack 6 because I know there are some kids who aren't going to have the finances to do that. So I want everybody to participate. We're going to do that. Or the Tooth Fairy came and all we had was a $50 bill. Well, that's not happening. I don't care. The Tooth Fairy did not give out, but the Tooth Fairy might give out a $5 bill. Okay, let's do that. Think about those, trying to prepare for those things in advance as an adult, also helping your kids think in advance. Thinking about, do they have a bag for those the dirty, wet stuff that they're going to bring home from camp? And then also in the car asking, hey, did you leave your swimsuit or your lunchbox or anything like that behind? Asking before you get home and you realize, hey, so that could be a little list on the back seat of the car. Hey, we're going to go through the list. Did you remember your any paperwork? Did you remember your swimsuit, et cetera, et cetera? It's helping them. You're supporting them, but they're the one who is thinking through all of these things, and it's going to build some skills for them.
Well, Kathy, I don't know if I'm growing as a person, if I'm just getting better at this, or this is just an area that I was good at, because I can tell you plenty of things. I already told you about my, Hobby Lobby in the dining room, which is my challenge. But I think that kids having a list, this is a fantastic idea, and helping them to make the list of what they need, because exactly like you said, like, did you pack everything? Like, they don't know a lot of times what they need to pack, and we forget that they don't think the way that we did. I mean, we would think, of course, if you're going to the pool, you need a swimsuit, and they're like, but they just don't think in that way. So I am definitely a big fan of lists, and I'm a big fan of old school, like just poster board. I'm talking just checking things off and helping with that. I also think one of the things that you said really made me think of something else that helps us to transition responsibility to our kids and also get some of the clutter off of our plates for scheduling, especially as moms. Have your kids start calling for their own appointments as early as you can. Be on the phone with them, put it on speaker. I've seen lots of social media reels about this, because kids today, they do so much by apps and scheduling. They don't know how to talk to a real person, but just telling them, okay, it's time for your eye appointment. It's time for your eyes to get checked. We get your eyes checked once a year. We're doing that. In my house, we do that for everybody right before we go back to school, so I can make sure everybody can see the school board, when they go. But say, okay, now call, now you put it on the calendar. Another thing that's been really helpful for me, Kathy, is having just a big giant clip on my refrigerator that I put any forms. So if they have a sports physical form, I know that's coming up, they have a camp release form, I sign those as soon as I get them taken care of, and I just put it on the clip on the refrigerator. So the kids know, hey, when I go, my form is there. These things are all so helpful in teaching our kids, so giving them some practical tools to help us all be responsible. Well, Kathy, we're coming up on our second break already, but when we come back, we're going to talk about this concept of a launch pad. You have talked to us about this before, but we'll talk specifically about that and just some packing. You're going to give us a first 48 hours rule, which I'm really curious to hear about. And we'll continue talking some more about not just thoughtfulness, but readiness. These things are all really important when we are trying to manage the chaos that is summer. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes, like you said, Kathy, maybe you don't have kids in the home technically anymore, but I have family members who have dogs who are more work, it seems like, than the kids ever were. And you got to have stuff wherever you are in your stage of life. I think all of us would appreciate a little more organization, a little more preparedness. Go over to Kathy Lips Clutter-Free Academy on Facebook. Tell her you're from the Dr. Nurse Mama Show. She'll let you in for free. That's KATHI. Look for Kathy Lips Clutter-Free Academy, and look for us to come back right after this break with more help and hope and encouragement on the Declutter Diaries.
If we lose this cultural war, we're going to have a hedonistic, humanistic society.
Discover the story of the culture warrior Don Wildman and how he went head-to-head with Hollywood, Playboy, the homosexual agenda, and the Disney empire. The movement Don started paved the way for Christians to boldly stand for truth and righteousness in a hostile culture. Watch Culture Warrior today for free. Visit culturewarrior.movie.
Hey friends, I want to invite you to our Call to Care equipping event on Saturday, June 13th in Plano, Texas. If you're a ministry leader, a pastor, counselor, or someone who feels called to help others, this is the event for you. Our theme this year is From Hurt to Hope. You can join us in person or online, so sign up today at hopefortheheart.org/events or text the word event to 70919 to learn more.
You get the soil ready. You put the seeds in and then you water it.
How do you plant a garden?
I don't know. You pray that God will give you a good harvest. And you have to work it to get all the weeds away. And then God brings the plants.
Planting a garden takes planning, hard work, and God's blessing. So does creating a lasting legacy for the people and charities that mean the most to you. The AFA Foundation is here to help you sow the financial seeds God has blessed you with in order for them to blossom for generations to come. We do this by offering free consultation and assistance in the areas of charitable gift annuities, estate planning, will and trust planning, and bequests. To learn more, call 800-326-4543, extension 345. 800-326-4543, extension 345, or visit afafoundation.net.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Wildman, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we are announcing 2 tours coming up in 2027, March of 2027. We're going to Greece and we're going to Italy. The Greece tour we call the Footsteps of Paul, and you're going to follow the footsteps of St. Paul in the country of Greece. And then the Italian tour, the tour of Italy, Venice, Florence, Pisa, Rome, we're calling the Make Lasagna Great Again tour. And these are coming up in March of 2027. And if you want to read all about them, the itinerary, the cost, everything you need to know about these tours coming up in March of Greece and Italy, go to tours.afa.net. That's tours.afa.net. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of good fellowship, and see some of the most historic and iconic sites in the world.
In the valley of the shadow, I got a feeling it's season that'll make me grow. I'm still breathing, I got praise in my lungs, in a choir in my soul, can't steal my joy. Can't steal my joy. What the world couldn't give, though it can't take away. Sorrow may come, but it can't steal my joy. Can't steal my joy.
Welcome back, friends. That is Can't Steal My Joy by Josiah Queen. And I don't know about you, but as a mom, one of the things that steals my joy really quickly is arguments in my house that are happening over clutter, over lost stuff, over things we can't find, things I'm tripping over, things we have but we don't need, things we don't need but we have. I mean, just it is all kinds of things. And we are talking, I hear Kathy laughing. I'm so glad to have her here for another episode of the Declutter Diaries, and we are going to help you not let summer steal your joy. Now, here's the thing. We're talking about clutter. We're talking about things, having a car kit, a ready-to-go pack, like that you are ready for those inconveniences you know are happening, like the kid who is just in that phase of life not brushing their teeth. Just go with it, friends. Just go with it. But it's not just about those things. The deeper message behind all of this, behind packing tips and checklists and packing lists, it's not about stuff. This is about character building. This is about discipleship. Learning to think ahead helps kids become the kind of people who are responsible and considerate and dependable and ready to serve others. And when we bring an extra water bottle because somebody else might forget or somebody might throw up in the car and need to be rinsed off a little, packing wipes because sticky stuff happens, or tossing wet clothes into a bag instead of making everyone smell that mildewed towel that's been under the seat for weeks and weeks and weeks. These are small acts that communicate I'm being considerate of the people around me. I'm being responsible with the things that I have to do. And Kathy is sharing, she's going to continue to share with us some really brilliant travel hacks, and we'll continue talking about that. And Kathy, I do appreciate this because, again, I think that clutter is just the gravel that is in the driveway that goes up to conflict. I know that's kind of a painful, tortured analogy, but that's what I feel like it is, you know?
I think it's great. And you know what? Can I say something, Jessica?
Yes.
I've known you for a while now, right?
You have. Yeah.
I think you think that you are worse at this than most people. And I think maybe you feel that way because you live with somebody who is highly decluttered, highly organized.
True.
Can I say, I feel like you fit right in. And what I love, first of all, you are so transparent with us because I think that many of us have this idea because you have doctor in your name and that you have a radio program, that you've got everything together. And by the way, you have a lot of things together, right? But it also shows that, one, I think people who struggle with clutter are the nicest people in the world. I really do. They're so generous.
They're here.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
And I think we get less upset when our apple cart is tipped over than maybe some of our friends who may appear to have it more together. And so I just want to shout out us cluttery people because we learn to bob and weave and adapt. But you and I and your listeners and the people who have joined Clutter Free Academy, we are set on growth. And I think that that is a beautiful and a Christ-like thing that we say, not only do I want better for me, but I want better for the people I live with. And I think that that is such a gift. So I just wanted to shout that out because I know you are being transparent with us, but I also think that I wanted to say we are also hard on ourselves. And I don't think that we always need to be. And I'm not correcting you. I'm just saying, you're just one of us, girl. You're just one of us.
And I will take it. I will take it because I think there's so many people listening who just feel a relief and thinking, okay, yeah, my house is not social media ready. And I've shared this before, Kathy, you know, with my husband telling me one day, like, you realize people live here. Like, we're going to have to lower our standards of what it should be. And I think that is a really important part of this conversation, Kathy, because you're right. And here's the epiphany right here, because I feel like when I fall short of perfect, I'm not there yet. But we're not going to be perfect. You know, still there's going to be some crushed goldfish in the bottom of whatever bag I have, no matter what life stage I have, because I have adult children who still love goldfish because that was the snack of choice, you know? I mean, it's never going to be exactly perfect, but growth, that growth mindset. And I definitely see that happening, you know, since we have started having these conversations. I have a coat closet, which, you know, we've laughed about that. And by the way, my producer wants me to give the disclaimer, in Texas, chapstick melts in the car and soft drinks explode. So just make sure you know all of that. And maybe I don't have a coat in the coat closet, but I do have puzzles in my coat closet. But it has stayed organized. I have a system that works. And that has been something that, like, I've been afraid to open, you know, lest like things fall on people and I get sued for something, you know, somebody getting hurt. It looks so much better. Now I still do have, like, even right here, I can put my hands on stacks of books that are on the floor around my desk that I'm still reviewing for the show. But I am getting better. And one of the tips that you're going to give us for getting better is this suitcases, is traveling, this first 48 hours rule. Now I admit, I saw a preview of this because I know you've written about it. And this is something that is a challenge. I'm taking it on as a challenge. Tell us about this first 48 hours rule that might be good for some families.
Yeah, so when we went to Disney World a while ago, we did a couple of things. One, we had just a couple of carry-on bags that had stuff for our combined family members for the first 24 to 48 hours. Because we have had luggage go missing before. I've been the person at 11:50 p.m. standing in the Walmart trying to figure out, what am I going to wear tomorrow? I have been that person. So if you can grab a carry-on and put a cup, even if for me and Roger, it's just one, an outfit for tomorrow, some pajamas, one tube of toothpaste, our medications, that kind of thing. If you have kids, you may need a couple of carry-ons, but you don't want to spend your first 24 to 48 hours running around looking for toothpaste that your kids are not going to go ooh to. So you need a survival window when you're traveling. I'll tell you another thing that I did, and then you can put the rest of your stuff in the checked luggage, right? Because it can get to you eventually, but you need to be able to have a little bit of time to, think through what are my next steps. Another thing I will say when we arrived, because this is vacation time, right? When we arrived at Disney World, I had groceries delivered to our hotel rooms. And now we didn't, it was mostly breakfast things and snack things because, hey, that's an expensive place to live. We got in late that night, so we wanted to be able to, I've been at Disney World where we got in so late there was no place to eat after a long day of travel. I was not a nice person, Jessica. I was a mean person, and I am mean very little of my life. But having those things delivered, it just takes the initial, oh my goodness, we need to scramble the first day of vacation. No, I want you to be able to enjoy it. I want you to be able to relax. I want your kids to have their comfort goldfish. No matter if they're in their 2s or their 20s, they got to have the goldfish. Let's make sure that we have the first 24 to 48 hours covered of vacation.
Yeah, I think that definitely is really, really helpful. I've done that when we used to take long road trips with my kids. I'd have one bag that was really easily accessible. So I'm not having to dig in everybody's suitcase, to find like one thing if we're delayed or, something's happening. Everybody's going to have to brush their teeth now because, we got a flat tire and now we've got to stop here when we didn't plan to stop. Packing for those first 24 hours is really helpful. Let's talk a little bit, Kathy, about involving kids in the packing process because this can be, like I'll have my oldest who could pack a suitcase like when she was, probably 4, like she could pack her suitcase. Another, the youngest is probably like going to bring like, oh, I haven't played with this broken toy I found under the bed in 3 years. That'd be a fun thing to bring, And do I really need to put the lid on the toothpaste? I don't think so. Let's talk about an organized way that you can help kids pack because we got kids this summer who may be going to cousin camp. I hope that there's grandparents out there who are thinking about doing a cousin camp, even if it's just for a day and you're packing a bag to go for the day. And we have other kids who are going to youth camps or preteen camps, or maybe they're going on a road trip to visit family there, or maybe there's blended family travel. There's all kinds of ways that you're traveling. Let's talk about an organized way to help kids get in on the process, take some responsibility and be organized in the way we're doing it.
One of the things that I did with my kids was, especially when they were little, we had Ziploc bags for each day. So Monday of the trip, everything that you're going to wear that day. And it was letting the kids pick to a certain extent. No, you're not just going to wear a swimsuit every day with a tank top over it. That is not how we live. So putting all of that in one place, let's make sure we all have an extra outfit because summer happens, right? And we would need to make sure. But it's helping your kids think through, and it's setting aside time. This isn't the night before decisions because then you're staying up, you're waiting for things to go through the laundry. I would take those clothes out of rotation, maybe 4, 5, 6, even a week before you are going on that trip. Setting it aside, these are decisions that should not be made under panic. So going through all of that, and then also asking your kids, what do you need for each day? Thinking it through. Is this tennis shoes or is it flip-flops? Thinking that through, helping them make some good choices ahead of time. And then as the mom, it's my job to make sure the sunscreen is in there, the toothpaste. These are things, but you can also give each kid a list and say, hey, we're going to need this, but the family will have the sunscreen, or we're bringing 1 tube of toothpaste for everybody, so you don't need to worry about that. But helping them think through why it would be why you need to bring a sweatshirt when it's not going to be cold. Well, there are days that it may be. Helping them think through that, because what we're doing is we're not helping kids pack, we're helping future adults pack. Mm-hmm. And saying, here's the reason I make these decisions, and I want you to understand that. And I love what you said, Jessica, about there just being a little extra time in summer without all the homework and everything like that. That's when we teach these lessons, and that's huge and it's important.
I'm a mom of 4, and I had 4 kids in 5 years. And so I had a lot of littles, and we would travel to go see family. And Kathy, it was one of the biggest banes of my existence to pack 4 suitcases. I would just get so overwhelmed, and I would think, oh my goodness. And then, I've got my husband who's saying like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You're just putting too much stress on yourself. I'm like, yeah, you say that. And yet when we get there and they don't have the right shoes, like I'm going to have to figure that out. Like it causes some conflict. So I'm going to tell you a hack that I used that I learned when my kids were really little. It was really helpful. So what I would do is we would have a packing day. I would plan it ahead, put it on my calendar and say, okay, we have this trip coming up. Today is packing day from 1 to 3 or whatever it is, we're going to be packing. And so then I would have them all get their suitcases or their bags out. We would lay them all out in the living room. And then I would have like a little race for them. So I would say, okay, here's how long we're going to be gone. You're going to need this many pairs of underwear. Everybody run to your room, bring back this many pairs of underwear. And then they all 4 go and get it. And then they'll bring it back and then put it in there. Okay, you're going to need this many pairs of pajamas. Go to your room, get that many pairs of pajamas, bring them back, put them here. Okay, you're going to need this many outfits. Go run and get them and bring them back here. And if, every once in a while they couldn't find something, we would go in there and find it together. But then I use like the little hanging things that are hanging organizers that are in closets. You can get them at the dollar store. They're really cheap. And then I would pack it all in there. And then I'd say like, okay, here's all your socks and underwear and your pajamas. Here is all, your outfits for this day. And I would just scrunch that up and put it in the suitcase. And then that was it. Everybody was packed. Like at one time, they all participated. They all knew what they knew. And I am telling you, like, it changed my life because I didn't feel like, okay, now I got to pack this one suitcase. Now this second suitcase. And then the kids are saying, oh, Mom, now they've gotten into trouble and they've gotten distracted and, colored each other blue, like with markers, like while I'm trying to pack. It was really helpful to get them engaged. And Kathy, as always, you are really helpful in helping us think through some of these things. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I say that as a nurse, and it applies to all of those clutter things too. Again, go find Kathy Lip on Facebook at a Kathy Lip's Clutter-Free Academy. She'll let you in for free. She lets all of our listeners in for free. Get a copy of her book and think through your summer. Do you have a go kit in your car? Think through about packing. Do it ahead of time. Get your kids involved and start to teach them about what they need so that they can learn to be responsible and take some of that responsibility off as they approach the right age and developmental stage. And as you do, I pray the Lord will bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow.